All right, so welcome everyone to AME's 2 Second Lean Leaders Roundtable series. We've got a great lineup today with our resident leaders, Bernard and Alex, and obviously Paul, who's going to control everybody. And we've got two fantastic mega leaders as guests today. We've got Norm. Welcome, Norm. You're obviously in China and it's 3 a.m. in the morning for you.
Rock star.
So thank you.
Wow.
You're a trooper,
Legend.
my friend. And
Thank
we've
you.
got Adam. Everybody knows Adam from the US. And Adam, welcome. You are a rock star as well. So, Paul, I'm going to hand it over to you and let's do valuable learning.
Okay, no delay. Rapid fire questions, 60 seconds apiece. First question, go ahead, Richard.
Okay, so here's the first question.
And Adam, we're going to start with you. Putra, Toronto, Canada, how do you ensure that improvements are sustained over time? Adam.
I feel like the best way to sustain an improvement is the person that does the improvement will be able to sustain it. And so the people doing the work will have the best improvements and they'll be able to sustain them over time. I think when improvements come from a top down, and I've had to be really disciplined about this because I see improvements that nobody else tends to see. And so instead of me saying, hey guys, make this improvement, I just try to ask better questions to get them to start to think a little bit differently about their work. And I would say the best ones are from the people who are actually doing the work. They will be able to more sustain that over time than somebody else.
So in short, what you're saying is if you want things to be sustained, improvements to be sustained, make sure the people are making the improvements.
Absolutely.
Okay. Norm, go ahead.
Yeah, for us, very similar actually, but I would say we also try to encourage people once you've made the improvement, now how do you make the next improvement? And so there's this idea that you just don't stop, because what ends up happening is if in our case at least if we've made them and then we just leave it, it'll actually start rolling back down the hill again, back to the old style. And so the idea is you get it, you set that new standard, and now you're trying to improve on that. How do you make this even better? And that's what sort of keeps it sort of holds it at that level.
Okay. Bernard, go ahead.
Let's go. Those are great answers. So my thoughts are that there's a few basic ones that obviously you got to have the group chat. That's key. Have the group chat, make sure everyone is sharing every day. We've just started something in our business, which it's been pretty uncomfortable for a few people, is we've started a daily report that shows everybody's names and a green tick if they made an improvement and a red cross if they didn't. That's made it so everyone's just so accountable.
Very
it's freaky.
visual. Okay.
Very visual. So we bring the problem to the surface. There's people that are a little bit not engaged, so bring that problem to the surface. And then you are the CEO, the chief energy officer. You are the CRO. You're the chief reminding officer. So remember, there's no bad teams, only bad leaders. So that's a really important concept to get hold of in lean. There's some thoughts.
Okay. So Alex, you're up. How do you sustain an improvement?
Yeah, it's all about routine. So you can't, I've heard it where people say, I'm doing the improvement on Tuesday and not Wednesday, but maybe 3Sing on Friday. It does not work. You do it every day and you sustain or you improve that improvement by doing it. Continuous improvement.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Okay, so I'm going to answer the question too. So the way we sustain improvement at FastCap is number one, usually whenever an improvement happens, the work cell has changed. So the actual way you do the work has changed. So it's difficult to go back to do it the old way. The second way is we make a video and document how the improvement was done. And then that video is on the chat and also done in the morning meeting so everybody sees it. Then the third way is there's always a department lead in a department that knows the current standard. And there are 8 people underneath that person, and that person is checking and making sure those improvements, those standards have been maintained. So there's my answer. So next question.
Okay, next question, Paul. From Phil in New Zealand. What is the one lean tool
Go ahead.
That you feel has made the most impact on your journey and why?
Okay, interesting. Bernard, let's go with you first. The one lean tool.
It's got to be just the WhatsApp group chat for me. I'd say, the group chat, making sure everyone's on it, and because we believe in Yoka 10, like it's not an improvement until you share it. So I think that's probably the really key thing. Yeah.
Okay, good. Norm.
Yeah, I would say something very similar. We have something called the 3S chat, and then basically anyone who walks through the factory if you're just walking down the hallway and you notice something off, you can quickly take a picture of that, and it goes on, and all the leaders see, hey, there's something's off there, and so nothing gets missed. It just depends, wherever you go in the factory, you're going to see these issues, and that's really helped us to make sure we hold the rope
Okay.
tight.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, go ahead, Adam.
I would say certainly the group chat, but for me personally as a leader from my personal journey, I think it's been having special time working with my direct leaders and mentoring them on how to disseminate appropriately and correctly the concept of lean down throughout our organization. I think pulling back a little bit.
Okay. So your mentorship program.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. Really good. Okay, Alex.
I have to say, making a video every day to celebrate the improvements, but also it really helps to show that video in the morning meeting and praise everyone, but also you're sending messages of what is the standard, what is your expectations, and what is going off course. So everybody gets that same what your expectation is. I think that's a really good tool.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I'm going to say for me, number one, being on the Gemba. If you're not on the Gemba, that's the number one tool that you have to make sure people know you're serious about this. The second thing is, Alex always preaches this, is your bathroom. If your bathroom is not amazing and you don't maintain your bathroom at an amazing level, that is the tool of all tools that conveys what we're really trying to do here, the standards and respecting other people. So next question.
All right.
Incredible. From Dawn in Texas, what do you do about people who have a real phobia of speaking in front of others? Do you still require them to take a turn doing the morning meeting? How do you handle that?
Okay, Alex, I'm going to let you go first.
I just will stand right next to him. They probably don't accept the first time, but probably at the third time I ask them to do it, they will do it. And just stand right next to it and say, don't worry, we'll do this together. And you know, like I said before, I have people that would not even speak English or, you know, not their main language. So there's no problem. When there's a will, there's a way.
Beautiful. Okay, Adam.
I think just finding what can they do. You know, that would probably be because the idea for us is it's not so much that everybody's quote unquote speaking in front of people. It's that we're contributing to each other's growth. For us, the morning meeting is more about us growing as a team. And so part of that is that we're, like Bernard said, with the Yokotan, is we're doing that with helping to grow each other too. So I would just say just starting somewhere small and building off of that.
Okay. Good. Okay. Norm?
Yeah, we require everybody to do it, but a little bit like Alex, we will, if we know that they're scared and nervous about it, we'll make it as easy as possible. We'll try to stand close to them. We kind of make that simple. But the other thing we've noticed is that because we have such a routine and every day the morning meetings are quite standardized,
right?
It's a pretty simple process because you're really just sort of leading all of us through the and so once they see one or they see 20, they're pretty comfortable by then, but it's a requirement.
Okay, good. Bernard?
Yeah, love the answers. So again, just make the process the expert, like Norm says. So make sure that agenda is really clear and simple, and it's always getting better, and you're always tweaking it. So they're just following a step-by-step process. Make sure you support them one-on-one, cheer them on, be their biggest cheerleader. And we just make it a clear expectation before we hire anybody that you're going to be running a morning meeting within a week or two. You know, so everyone is hired with that clear expectation. So you can't. That's not an option.
Yeah, right. So, and what I would say is number two, when that person gets up there for the first time, everyone needs to support them, encourage them. Yeah, you can do it right away.
Yeah.
And if they're really intimidated, only have them do one little part of the meeting, like maybe just Ono's principles or gratefuls, and just get them familiarized with being in front of people. Okay, next question.
Well, I comment on that one, Paul, because I watched a clip from Jack from the summit that's just recently done. And when you went up next to a team member that was not looking at the people, and you raised his head, you raised his chin, and it took about 3 or 4 times, but he felt so good at the end because everybody
Mm.
recognized him. And that's the
Right.
power of empowerment. That was
Yeah,
incredible.
we are coaching people. We are coaching people to excellence. That is what we're doing, and it is very important. I'm sorry, my phone went off there. It is very important that we realize we are going to develop people at a level they never dreamed of. So there we go.
Absolutely.
Okay, next question.
Absolutely. Grow the people. So Glenn, Portsmouth, I'm trying to start a 2-second improvement environment where I work. However, I'm just a worker trying to get management to buy into this philosophy. Paul has taught me to be the magnet and do it daily. What else can I try to get buy-in from my non-believer management team? They're just too busy trying to run the shipyard. They don't have time.
Okay,
It's a common problem.
Adam, you're up.
I'm with you, Paul. It's if you'll improve your work and you do it at a high level and people see that consistency, the problem with most people implementing lean is that it is the next flavor of the month, and that's what people
Right.
are expecting. And so if it becomes not the flavor of the month, but it becomes the meal of the year, then it's a different conversation you're having with people at that point.
Okay. Bernard, you go ahead next, and then Norm.
We had a question like this last time, similar to this, and I'm always going to say you make it better by one, and you know what? You turn yourself into a lean all-star. You're going to influence people around you. They're going to see that your life's better, you're getting better, you're growing, you're learning, you're positive, you're pumped up, and they're going to be drawn to that like a magnet, and then you're going to end up being hired by somebody else. You'll find a better job somewhere if your management team doesn't pick it up. So become a lean all-star. No victim mentality. Take full extreme ownership.
Beautiful, Bernard. Norm.
Yeah, I think Bernard said it actually perfectly. You there's so much waste, so much sloppiness that each one of us has. You just keep working on that, and you let that permeate just your whole life. And either you'll find that people will start to change around you. You will absolutely influence coworkers, even if it doesn't spread all the way up to all the way up the chain of command. The people around you will start to change, or you'll find yourself in a position where there's a better opportunity.
Beautiful.
Great.
Alex?
Yeah, just, in if he's a worker, do his area, show an example, and perhaps influence another operator next door, help him, have that spirit of giving, help another guy, and then that guy, another guy, and just, it's a domino effect. Because if we try to go directly to management without showing an example, it's really hard to explain with PowerPoints or with just talking. When
Right.
you see,
Paul.
Go ahead.
It's just when you see it visually, and when you talk to people and they're happy, why would you not want to have that, right?
Exactly. So I'm going to say my answer is a little different. I'm going to say, Glenn, you need to be asking questions. I will explain. So one time, my favorite story, Bob Taylor told it to me personally. A guy walked up to Bob Taylor Guitars, and said, Bob, what can I do to help you? And Bob said, I need a full custom guitar program where people can go online, order anything they want, and come out the other end and the guitar is made. 6 months later, the guy came back to Bob and said, here's the program. It's online. Showed it to Bob and says exactly what I want done. The answer, Glenn, is this. You need to ask your management, what can you do to help them? And show your improvement ability, your autonomous improvement ability. And I think you will begin to win them over. Next question.
Love it.
I got a comment on that one because I put myself in Glenn's position that if you're in a company where it's not standard practice to do improvements every day, then it's going to be difficult for Glenn to actually find the time, if he's tasked with other stuff to do the improvements. So what you've just said, Paul, is really good. Just ask management exactly what can I do to be better. I think that's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So this is from Ben in Wisconsin. Did any of you start this with your family home as a test before taking it to business? What was the result?
Okay. Let's see. Bernard, you go first.
No, I did it at home. I did it at home, of course. As soon as I read the book, I started making tiny improvements. But one thing I'll say is don't try and force it on your wife or your kids or anything. It ain't going to work. You got to lead by example, as with anything in life and leadership, right? You're going to drive people crazy. Don't be a talker, be a doer. Talk is cheap, implementation is everything. So do it at work, do it yourself. then start, then you can share the buzz. You gotta, and then of course do it at home. Start simultaneously.
So I want to just say something about Bernard, because a lot of you are not on the chats with Bernard, but Bernard, there is nobody that improves more than Bernard, and there's nobody that improves more at their home. He makes me look like a slackard. Every time I turn around, there's
Not
another
true.
improvement at his house, in his yard, with his children, in his garage. It's unbelievable. You lead a great example of that. Norm, you're next.
Yeah, I would say it starts with yourself, then the business, and then kind of home happens. It happens just organically. As you're improving, as people see it, that's fine. But we didn't force it at home.
Okay,
We're very careful about that too.
good. Okay, Adam.
No, I wouldn't say we ran a test at home before. I think it was simultaneously. We saw the benefit and just started applying it everywhere. So that would be my answer.
Okay, Alex.
Just by example, just like Bernard says, my kids see it from what I'm doing, and they're kind of interested to do that, and they improving their bedrooms and the way they do their backpacks and so forth. So just by example, but do not enforce it, especially on the wife.
Yeah. So I screwed this up completely, start to finish. I forced it on my wife and my children. I think they didn't speak to me for 8 years. Finally, we're on speaking terms, so things are good. But it took a long time. So do not force it. Never, just shut up and do it, and do not, and help your wife, help your kids, but never call it lean. Never tell them you're doing lean. Just improve. Okay, next question.
You know what? That's so true, because I'm the only anal one in my house, and everything's got a home. But you know what? If something goes awry and it's not in the right place, my wife and my son are the first people to say, "Where did you put this?"
Exactly.
That's good, Richard.
It's so true. All right. Next question from James in Conroe, Texas. How do some of you engage with customers and suppliers who may not know what lean is to train them to better work with your processes?
Good question. Alex, I'll let you go first.
I'll show them the example. We have customers come in and they see it, and we're helping them to do the 2-second lean as well.
So just strictly from example.
When you show something that works and they talk to people, it blows them away. It's as simple as that. You want to deploy, show an example.
Beautiful. Adam.
Love it.
I would say specifically with our customers, we actually robbed this idea from you, Paul, where we started a test group, or a group with our contractors, and asked them to be on a group that we could send them improvements and get immediate feedback on whether that would work or not. And so we've slowly started introducing them to lean concepts as a matter of fact, I forwarded one yesterday and they were like, I loved it. I got phone calls. I mean, within like 10 minutes, I had three immediate responses, and they were all, towards whether it was an improvement or not an improvement and how we could even make it better. So I would say getting your customers, and probably need to get our vendors on the same bandwidth there.
Beautiful, Adam. Okay, Norm.
Since most of our customers are overseas, they don't get the chance. But if they do, they come and they see us. We give them tours of the factory. They all get a copy of 2-second lean. That's our customers, and we do the same with our suppliers when they're delivering things, or when we're setting up a new vendor that's going to be selling to us. We'll say, "Come, we're going to show you what kind of company we are, what our values and standards are." And so they'll do the walkthrough, and they'll already see. For steel, for example, our steel suppliers ship to us. They're going to realize, oh, wow, these guys are in the similar kind of business, but their business looks dramatically different than ours. And there's it piques their interest right off the top. And then same thing. We have books we give them out and say, hey, this is, if you're interested, this is how we do it. And some come back, some don't. Yeah.
Right. Beautiful. Bernard.
Yeah, I agree with everyone here. The key thing we've found is we've created a little info email, like a template. So as soon as we've got a new customer or a supplier that's interested, we send in that template. It's got a link to the 2-second lean play app, a link to your YouTube channel, Paul, and also our YouTube channel, just so that they can dive in and go deep on it if they want to. And then we invite them in for a little tour. And we've had so many customers tour, and they just blows them away, builds a relationship at a much deeper level, and you've got a customer for life, because they love that you're helping them with their business and their life. It's fantastic.
Beautiful. Team Roundtable, I quit timing everyone on my phone because all of you are being so pithy and deliberate. Great job. Next question.
Okay, next question is from Putra again. How do you strike that fine balance between buying something for an improvement versus creating the solution for yourself?
Think with your head, not your wallet. Okay, Bernard, any thoughts on that?
We always say one of our mantras is cheap and cheerful and do more with less. Yeah, Paul
love
likes
it.
it.
I
Paul
love
likes
that.
this one. So that's the first thing. So what we've always got in all our factories, we've got little areas of like recycled stuff like these, bits of timber and bins and stuff that's left over from things. Rather than chuck it
Right.
out, we sort of have it in little spots, and you go and have a crack with that. And if your improvement's got some merit and it warrants a bit of spending, then it will go, to your team leader, and your team leader will bring it to the senior leadership meeting or the morning meeting, and we'll get sign off, together. So it's kind of like, again, it's collaborative,
Beautiful
making sure,
answer.
but we make sure we challenge every dollar that we spend. It's really key.
Beautiful answer, Norm.
Yeah, we try to err on the side of if you can just do it cheap and easy, then that's the way to go. But every once in a while, we'll have projects that they're going to require an investment, and so then we'll do a cost analysis,
Right.
and we'll break it down. If we need to get a new machine to do something, then that's what we'll do. So anything that comes in that says like, hey, this is a great idea, we'll just look at the payback time on it and see if it makes good sense. We sort of have
Right.
internal rules of. For example, a Chinese machine, if it pays back within a year and a half, then it's has a green
Makes
light,
sense.
and
Right.
we could make sense of it. And so, yeah, we'll test everyone, but we have a threshold. If it's kind of below a certain dollar value, it's just kind of just go for it. We don't
Okay.
stress it.
Good
Nice.
answer, Alex. No, Adam. Adam, you go. Adam, and then Alex.
So we have a term around here called low cost of failure. Usually a $10,000 improvement that you could buy the solution out has a way you can test it for $1,000, but then that $1,000 has something you could test for $100. And so it's find the lowest cost of failure to test the core idea.
Oh, beautiful.
Before you move to the next iteration
Wow.
of that, because
Love it.
that $100 test is probably going to inform you, and you would not make that same $10,000 decision or even the $1,000 decision from there. So we really
Brilliant.
hammer home on that is find the lowest cost of failure to test the core concept or core idea.
Powerful.
Love it.
Powerful, Adam. Go ahead, Alex.
I've been thinking of that while you guys answer, and I think I'm probably doing all the expensive ones because I don't have that problem coming back to me. So I might be doing all the expensive ones. But in a serious note, I think it's because we put a standard of using a lean cave, which is a little place where you have items. So they know that that's what I would buy them, and they have to deal and make improvements with what they have. It's the boutique. They go there and they grab items and they improve. If
Great.
it's a safety thing, we have to, redo something or rebuy or replace. There's no questions asked. We just do it. But other than that, really, 99% of the time is little improvement, don't require much.
Wow. So I'm going to say for us, we have this robust, Alex's word, lean cave. We have this robust shop with tons of supplies, and everything is go make it right now, do it with what we have. And if it doesn't work, we need to improve it. Then we escalate it to the next level.
Love it.
Okay. Next.
Love it. Great answers.
So from Brian, any tips or suggestions for a solo one-person lean business?
Alex, go.
Read.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Get a mentor.
Get a mentor.
Yeah.
Get a mentor. Get on a chat. Get a mentor.
Absolutely.
Adam.
I would say get on a chat there's a ton of chats out there that are encouraging. But it's just like the gentleman that was the lone kind of lone ranger in the big company. It's the same thing. Is just look around you and improve. The idea is that you want to increase your level of thinking. The improvements are a byproduct of better thinking. And so we're trying to constantly challenge our thinking, how we approach problems. And you just need a cadence for that. And that's why, everybody up here said it's the daily cadence of trying to solve problems that leads to better thinking. So I would say it's really no different than if you were in a company of 100 people. You still really start in the mirror and go from there.
I would agree. Okay, Norm.
Love it.
Yeah, a couple things come to mind really quick. First, getting involved in one of the lean chats is key, because you're going to be talking already with other business owners who are going through it, whether they are big or small. But the other one too, and I've seen there's a couple people in the lean community that are doing it. They're doing a really good job of it. Just one man shops or one person shops, but they're still making a daily video. They're putting it up on YouTube or something like that. They're putting it out there. They're saying this is the route that I'm going to go, and I'm going to just chart forward, and yeah, it's just little bit by little bit. It'll make a big difference.
Okay, thanks, Norm. Bernard.
Love it, you guys. I've got a page of notes already from today.
I know.
It's so good. It's so good. So when I'm looking down, I'm making notes, guys. I'm not on my phone, okay? But I just want to say, love all that. My tip is, and I started doing this, years ago, is I used to write it all down on a little in a little book in my diary, and every time a little improvement came to mind, I'd scribble it down. So I've always got this like I call it a perpetual action list. So you've always got a future workload of improvements ahead of you, and you always just pick the low-hanging fruit. So pick the easy ones off. Like start with your desk, get that cleared up, and get a walkaway standard posted up. A photo of how it should look when you walk away, and then do your top drawer, and just start with the simple, easy wins. Like don't overthink it seriously, and it's going to lead you're going to get this improvement mindset. It's going to become part of your DNA. And then everywhere you go, you're going to start to see waste. Just keep listening to 2 Second Lean over and over. And improvement starts with I. And there's some really good books. And use that, when you're driving along, don't listen to the radio, listen to a book, if you're not talking to customers, listen to an audio book, make the most of every precious second, like Paul talks about it a lot, but every second is precious, right? You can never get that back again. So the older you get, every day that goes past, your time's becoming more valuable because it's getting scarcer. So don't muck around. Just get on with it. Make a tiny one. Make a tiny one. Make a tiny one. And as one comes to mind, scribble it down. So we've got a couple of lists in our house. One's on the fridge of just stuff, and one's on my beside my bed as well, like a physical list, and that gives me a bit of a kick in the backside when I look at that and go, hang on, I've got this workload ahead of me. You've never got an excuse not to make an improvement. There's always something to tick off the list.
I love it, and I would just say, fix what bugs you, Brian.
Next absolutely, 100%. That summarizes everything. Fix what bugs you. Perfect. Okay, next one. This is from Trent in Wyoming. What have you learned that made the biggest difference regarding the way you lead your team or company?
Wow. Adam, I'm going to go with you first and then Alex.
I would say I said this at the summit. It is the concept of mentoring, because we're not looking for behavior modification. We really are looking to help people have a better way of thinking and a better way of approaching problems. So I would say being able to lock arms with people and walk them through that that's probably been the biggest thing that has changed me, from me having to run around like Superman and feel like I've got to keep all the plates spinning. And this is from a leadership standpoint, to really honing in and saying, do we have the cadence of all of the daily things we need to do, but are we also backstopping that with mentoring along the way?
And specifically, Adam, developing leaders to replace you.
Exactly.
Okay. Alex.
I would have to say I really developed a eye and way of doing Gemba walks. So I take my leaders, I take supervisors with me, and we're just asking the right questions. We're challenging.
Okay. Okay, good. So leadership Gemba walks.
Socratic method. It's really brought a lot of added value for that.
Okay, very good, Norm.
Yeah, one thing for me is I know some companies they'll even post it as one of their wastes, but communications, they're the 9th waste. But I came across this thing just in the past, I want to say maybe 18 months, but a lot of times when we're communicating, this is my standard, but the person who's hearing me is really only grasping 80% of it. And then in a company or less, yeah, absolutely. And in a company like ours, we've got 200 people. If that happens 4 times, 80%, 80%, 80%, 80%, the fourth person's only getting about 50% of what the first standard was.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening, that degradation that's happening, or that entropy leaking, whatever it is, of ideas, is costing you so much. And so if you can become a better communicator and you can teach your people to be better communicators, you get a win.
Norm, you're a good communicator. How do you do that?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. The Alex mentioned it really well. You're asking a lot of questions to make sure you're getting that quick
Understanding.
concept checking. Yeah. You know,
Okay.
make sure before that person leaves, they really do grasp what's in your mind, because otherwise,
So Norm,
there's
your
always
answer
frustration.
basically is asking questions. What have you learned
Yes.
that makes the biggest difference regarding the way you lead your team? Asking questions.
Yeah, concept checking. Yeah.
Okay, good, wonderful. Bernard, are you up next?
Awesome answers. I've got a few things. One is the window and the mirror, we call it. So when things are going great, look out the window and praise your team. It's all them. When things are going to custard, look in the mirror. It's you. So you got to take extreme. You got to take and it's hard. It's hard because everyone's
Right.
got everyone. As human beings, we've all got a sense of pride, right? And it's really hard to look in the mirror and just take extreme ownership and take ownership of the whole thing. Because as soon as you shift away from that, you're screwed. Oh, thanks, Danny.
Right.
And so the other thing is the Ono circle has been really helpful, like standing in a circle and just observing process. I'm a
Okay.
really impatient guy, so that's really, really hard for me. But every time you do it, even if it's for 10 minutes, you can write down so much waste that's happening in a process, and then train your leaders how to do that. Grab them, pull them into the circle with you, and get them to write that list with you and go, what's the waste you're seeing right here? And the other one is just CEO, Chief Energy Officer, and CRO, Chief Reminding Officer. So just all the time, this is your job every single day, reminding why we're in business, why we do what we do, why do we do lean, why are we so obsessed about lean, why are we so obsessed about growing people, why are we so obsessed about improving the life of the customer, like continually reminding people, in the morning meeting, but on your group chat as well, and sharing little videos on the chat all the time. I probably do too many, but just you get some good news, share it on the chat, say I've just talked to this customer, he's promised us this and that, and fantastic, bang, 30 seconds, 10 to 20 seconds.
Wow, everyone, great answers, powerful. Next question.
Next one from Putra again. Okay, would appreciate additional clarity on the percentage breakdown of coaching versus you actually implementing the improvements.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, for me, I'm just going to step in on this one. I'm just curious, but I spend at least 50% of my time improving things and 50% of my time coaching people side by side. That's for me. But Alex, go ahead.
I would say so. The important thing is you're 80% of the time on the shop floor. If you don't have already your office out there, and they'll just pull you whenever they need some guidance, some information, need some help and some improvement. It's just being out there shoulder to shoulder with your guys.
Okay, good.
Love it.
Adam.
I would say, so for me, our company's about 25 team members strong. And so my role is a little bit different, where my Gemba is really everywhere. It's with estimation, it's with, on the shop floor, it's a little bit of everywhere. And so
Right.
I would say that, my Gemba is pretty much everywhere. I'd say I probably spend more time coaching. I can see the improvement and I see how to do it. I guess I have the ability to do that. But for me, I'm trying to help our people think through it and get them to where they're seeing the same waste that I'm seeing and beyond what I see.
So what percentage of the time would you say you're physically improving versus coaching?
I'd say I'm probably more 70% coaching and 30% physically making the improvements, but my coaching is towards making improvements. And so it's kind of, it's all mixed in there.
Absolutely.
So.
Okay. Norm, did you go yet? I'm confused where I left off.
No, not yet. But I would say something similar to what Adam just said. Because of the different roles, for some of our staff on the line, they're making improvements and they're really tactile. They're making it more visual. They're fixing their Kaizen foam.
Right.
My improvements are often in people, and so in a way, if I'm coaching them, I'm actually making improvements and implementing those improvements. Because for me, if I can get someone's thinking adjusted, that's the same as someone on the floor who's maybe getting their machine adjusted.
Okay.
And so I kind of, it's maybe a bit of a cheap answer, but I would say it'd be almost like 100% improvements. Because really the coaching, I consider it as part of implementing improvements.
Okay. All right. Bernard.
I think you guys have answered it. Really, my percentage of breakdown would be probably 80, I don't know. Probably similar to Paul, 50% coaching, 50% on but when I'm on the Gemba, it's like, hands-on with the guys, asking them about their improvements and what are you improving next and what about this and have you thought about this? So You know what? I couldn't put an accurate time on it. So great question.
Yeah, well,
as usual,
I'll do.
Lutra.
Bernard. I'm gonna do it for you. Bernard does 90% improvement and 10% coaching, and his improvements are coaching because everybody's inspired by what you do. I've never seen anybody make more improvements than you.
Absolutely.
Okay, next question.
So there's the lean saying, change the people or change the people. I've noticed when helping an area to get going, you have early adopters. Alex has said, feed the hungry. And so you find the hungry and you feed them. And then everybody starts coming along. You also have late adopters that take a while. Then you have the guys who fight and obstruct and everything else, and you figure those guys out after some time, and those guys you can work on. How long are you willing to go with people who drag their feet? Do you keep working with them as long as they're moving along a little bit at a time, as long as they're making some improvement, or are they not worth keeping around if they don't fully engage? Any thoughts on that?
Okay,
So
Bernard,
there's the
you go
lean saying,
first.
change.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Bernard, go first.
Here we go. Yep. So we have it built into our contracts. Okay. So it's an expectation when you're employed here. I know that's a problem if you haven't been on this journey for long, but every time you sign up a new contract, make sure it's in the contract. So that we don't want that to be a legal obligation. That's not the point. We want to improve for improvement's sake. But the facts are, you got to have that fallback position. If someone comes in, they promise to make improvements, they promise to set the world on fire, and you hire them because they've made it through your process, and then they're a complete flop, and you're working and working and working and working. We give people a lot of chances, like, I don't know, hundreds of chances. So it's all about, seeing the good in people, realizing they want to turn up to do a good job, but at the same time, we don't suffer fools gladly either. So, and now we've created this list of everyone who's improving every day. It's like just brought that problem to the surface. It's just boom. Yeah, it's getting uncomfortable.
Norm.
We would say that everyone's got to be moving in the business, and so we kind of use a line that you're either being managed up or you're being managed out. And the goal, of course, is to manage them up. But if they're not, if there's no forward momentum, then they'll find they're kind of off to the edge, and then they're out. Yeah.
Alex, and then Adam.
That's a touchy one because for me is if there's a sabotage, if there's someone wanting to go against it, out. But I've had people that
agree completely.
Like a year, but they're trying, and then some of my superstars are people that they've been there for 2 years, and then 2 years they totally become a lean maniac, but they were never sabotaging. So I think that's the key. If it's sabotage,
okay, good. Good. I agree. Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say I made a commitment when we started 2 Second Lean that we were not going to, we were going to suffer long in the process, just so that we didn't push anybody out because of lean. I would probably agree with the rest of them. Anybody that is left because of lean, they've left on their own accord, and they just didn't want to get on the bus of what we were doing, and it made it so uncomfortable for them that they just decided they wanted to work somewhere else. Our goal when somebody comes to us, now I agree with Bernard, for new hires, we set the expectation. We try to do the best job possible of clearly articulating what our environment is. We really try to recruit the 2% out of the gate. But regardless of how they come to us, our goal is that they're in a better shape when they leave us than when they got to us. And so with Norm, we just want to see any of the slightest improvement, because I feel like the ones that'll get it for the long term are probably like what Alex said. It's going to be the ones that takes 2 years and all of a sudden, boom, it just clicks. Right. And then they're going to be your long-term rock stars in lean.
All right. And I just like to always make for the record, I think it's very important that we give credit to where these ideas come from. That idea, change the people or change the people, is from Dan Aaron's Lawnmower. He told that to me 10, 15 years ago when I visited his plant, and it's very powerful. And Dan has thousands of employees. It's a very big operation. And he said, look at, man, we're in business to serve our customer. We're not here we're not a babysitting. Don't come into the office, sit on the couch, and we're not going to psychoanalyze you. We're here for a specific person to serve our customer and to improve. If you want to do that, this is a great place. If you don't, next. Okay.
It's called
Next question.
survival. Survival.
All right. So on that one, what Brandon mentioned was typical of the 10-80-10 syndrome. 10% of the world's population are going to walk off a cliff for you. They're going to do everything possible to help you. 10% are going to try and screw you and resist everything. And the other 80% sit on the fence and watch which way the wind blows. And it's so true when you look at it. Okay,
Wow.
I'm going to just
Very
change it a
Very
little bit
good.
right now because James has got his hand up. It may be referencing something that we've talked about. So James, can you just tell us what you want to talk about? Just a second. James Cheatham.
I accidentally hit that button, guys. Sorry.
That's okay.
Please
Makes it
proceed.
interesting, James. Makes it interesting.
Sorry about that.
You hit the button by mistake. Okay, no
Yeah,
problem,
no.
James. That's fine.
And
All
I
right.
got to tell you, we got a great group of people in the
Yes.
audience. So thank you,
Love it.
everyone. You're awesome.
Absolutely.
It's awesome
Okay,
to
next
see.
question. Here we go. From Wilson. In Paul's book, he mentions one of our goals was to look like Hux within 1 year. Oh my God, Hux. They took 2 S's out of 5 and reduced it to 3, which was great. What are some similar goals you've had that inspired or continue to inspire you on your lean journey?
Not asking me, just everyone, right?
Everyone, yes.
Okay, go. Alec, can you go first?
Change the world. That's his goal.
Well, then you know, you really want to do some impact into your people. So we want to just for example, on safety, Lean has been able to get us into 0 accidents downtime, coming from a big high number. So just that itself, going everyone back home because they're engaged, because they are improving the safety issues. For me, that's that we dreamed about 0 accidents and we did it. So
Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful. And I'm working with a company that went from killing 18 people a year to 2. So I can identify with that one. That's very good. Adam. And
terrible.
that's not funny, but it's a very good improvement. Adam.
But
I would say
I was going to say, sorry, Adam. I was going to say, Paul, that's not really as good. It's like saying 99% quality is
No,
good.
I
You
mean,
ask
it's not
an airline and it's not.
I completely agree, but they've made a massive improvement. So I'm
Yeah,
celebrating
that's positive.
that.
That's
positive.
great. Fantastic. Sorry, Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just say that a big thing for us is having an incubator for that where people can grow, and so that we can attract people who want to grow. And we have one of our core principles is mindset over skill set, and a lot of people rely on the skill sets that they've accumulated over time, but business hits so fast these days that the skill sets you have now will probably be obsolete within about 2 to 3 years, 24 to 36 months. And so having the mindset to learn the new skill and to upskill. And so even if they stick with us or they don't stick with us, we know that if they participate in our culture, they will be in a better spot in 24, 36 months, whether they stay with us or not. So we've accomplished our goal in that.
Big, good answer, Norm.
Love it.
For us, you know, when I had the privilege of going on the Japan study mission right at the beginning of my lean journey. And when I came back, I took our entire factory. We had Toyota just about 3 hours from our factory. And so we took our entire factory there. And the takeaway after was, we're not going to be Toyota, of course,
right?
But we want to be, when it comes to our industry, to what we're doing, we want to be the number one. We want to, when people come drive by on the road, they would just look at, you know, where we are in China, there are thousands upon thousands of businesses and behind these gates, and you wouldn't know what's inside. But when you do walk inside, if someone walks through our door, they're going to say there's something uncommon
special
here. Yeah, this is not like what we've seen. And we actually use that word a lot in particular because in China, at least, everything is common. So the language that you speak is the common language. The way you behave is the common way. And we want to be uncommon, not in a bad way. We want to be uncommon in something that's just world class.
Wow.
So
great answer.
That was our challenge. Yeah.
Okay, Bernard.
Love it. Oh, well, we've got tons of little goals, but one of our ones is that, like, down here in New Zealand at the bottom of the world, if you've never been here, our productivity as a country is awful. It's one of the lowest in the OECD. It's horrific. It's shameful. It's embarrassing. It's just really bad. We're sloppy, 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 sloppy. So my one of my BHAGs is to inspire 1 million Kiwis to embrace 2 second lean. It's a pretty stupid, crazy goal, but hey,
Oh my
we're giving
gosh.
it a crack. We're gonna give it, we're
Bernard,
trying every day.
anything we can do to help you, you are amazing. If that doesn't answer that question, Will, that is such an incredible answer. Wow. Okay, next question. Two more. Richard, we're already at 45 minutes. So let's go two more, get some
Two
powerful
more.
ones, and then
One
let's
more
wrap
thing
it up.
on Norm's answer. It reminds me of Ryan having a waiting list to join his company. Norm, I bet you got the same thing at your
Yeah, I
company.
reckon.
When people know about you, that I want to join, but you got to have a waiting list.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
Yeah, it
Love
is
it.
nice when they flow in rather than flowing out.
Absolutely. Okay, from Clint in Houston, do all of you use a Kanban system for flagging the reorder of parts? If so, how did you start it? If not, what alternative do you use for managing parts being ordered at the right time?
Well, we started with our toilet paper, but Alex, you go ahead. That's how we started. We Kanban
I
our
love
toilet
it.
paper, and that was critical. And we got that right. We just rolled it from there.
Did
Alex,
you get it
go
down
ahead.
to the last piece, Paul?
Yeah,
Piece by piece?
No, we're not that good. We actually have way too much, but at least we never run out. Okay,
That's
Alex,
pretty
go
a
cool.
lot
ahead.
of the consumables we have Kanbans as well, but for maintenance and parts are must have in the system and reordered immediately are through our ERP, SAP system. They automatically, once you take it out of the warehouse, it automatically sends a PO to the customer.
Okay,
Love it.
Yep.
Adam.
We start with a lot of our consumables on physical Kanban cards, but a lot of our product, well, pretty much all of our product is ERP ticked type Kanban system. It's all done in the background, but heavily looked at. So we try to apply the right solution for what we have. We found that physical works sometimes, and then the computer works better in other times.
Okay, good. Okay, Norm.
Yeah, very similar. We do use the Kanban cards for consumables for those easy things. We for the bigger orders, especially because we're just a steady mass manufacturer, so we just have orders coming through every single day. Those our steel we had to purchase 3 months in advance, and so it's a different ERP system that we use. But I will say one area where we need to improve, and I'd love to get better at it, is moving between shops on the Gemba. So we don't necessarily use cards to pull from other departments. I think there's an opportunity to improve on that. So that's a challenge for us.
So and then Bernard, you're the last one, right?
Yeah, yep. Do you want to go, Paul?
No, I was just going to say, I'm going to put in the chat right now our Kanban system. We have 2 videos that Lucas and I produced that are fabulous, and they'll help you. And I would say that 98% of everything in our facility is Kanban with the paper Kanban. We have ERP system. It's very minor in how we manage the company, but literally thousands and thousands, over 10,000 Kanbans. Our whole company is Kanban from start to finish, and it works really well. That's the way we do it. But I'll put a video here so you'll see that. Bernard, go ahead.
Love it. Yeah, so we're always getting better at it. I'm not going to say we're world class because we're always getting better, but we use Kanban for every single consumable item, down to every different type of tea bag in the lunchroom and all those little things. We've shifted across to Gemba Docs Kanban cards, which seem to be really cool. They just seem to be easy, bit faster to produce, and that's working well for us. And then we also use trigger levels in our ERP when our stocks are getting low. But I make sure that in terms of trigger levels for our paving and bricks, and because we're holding thousands of tons of product, but I make sure that we're doing physical Kanban. Like, our team leaders are not allowed to just go by the ERP. They got to go do physical checks every day as well on the Gemba. So that's really important for us.
Okay. All right. Next question. One more.
Well, let's just finish one, because this one reminds me of a company in Canada from about 2 decades ago.
Okay.
They used to package their parts. So they had a whole load of packaging materials that they put on racking. And what they did, as far as reordering, they had something like 8 webcams looking at these different levels. And the suppliers used to look every day. That was their task every day to see whether it was at the reorder level. And if it was at the reorder level, they would automatically ship in the right amount to put it back up. There was no purchase order. There's no receiving advice. There was no nothing. It was just a batch PO, and they just sent an invoice in every month and they paid it. So much waste was taken out. This was 20 years ago.
Crazy.
Incredible.
Very interesting how people apply
Thanks for sharing.
Okay.
That's great.
Another question.
All right. Last one then before we leave. Clint in Houston, if you were to develop a curriculum to start teaching frontline leaders in the shop, what list of topics would you pick for a team very early in their 2SL journey? That's a good one.
Okay, Bernard, do you want to try that one?
Yeah, great question. Really good question.
We've only got 8 minutes, Bernard.
Yeah, let's go fast. So I just for a kickoff, just in your morning meeting, just gradually chip through the video chapters of 2-second lean. That's your kickoff. Like, just get started with that.
The first 12 chapters are in video format. I'll post that on the link. I'll post that right on the chat right now too.
Perfect.
Best way to start.
Okay.
Great. Awesome. Okay, Norm. You're gonna...
I'm sorry, Norm. Go ahead. I'm not moderating all of a sudden.
Yeah. I want to make sure I understand the question, but for me, there's probably a set of tools, and you could have a session on each one of those things, like the morning meeting, daily 3S, daily Gemba walks, before and after videos. Those are really the pillars that if you can get those down, you're well on your way. But I think, and we've mentioned already on this chat, that at the root core of everything is just people seeing waste and fixing what bugs them. I mean, if you can if they can grab that, they're 90%. The next 100 pages are not gonna add much more. Yeah.
Right. Okay, Adam, go ahead.
I'd second Norm. I think if you can I love the lean burrito video that you did, because it kind of takes and makes something silly out of the waste cycle.
Right.
But if you can apply it to a burrito, you can apply it to whatever your job is. But I would say, yeah, absolutely. The concept of teaching the waste and then going through the waste story. We still try to do that as much as possible. We found that virtually every waste starts with overproduction.
Right.
And so we try to, can you get it back to where it was overproduced and then work your way through how it affects that? I think that would be the lowest hanging fruit. And then certainly just take the next practical step to fix what bugs you when you find it.
Great.
I love it. Okay, Alex, go ahead.
We have 3 things. So the first is the waste. So we need to show them what the waste mean to us in our business, exactly what that means, and give examples. So we spend a lot of time on that. The second is we listed 10 principles of lean, because there's so many. So just put them up on the board and the morning meeting. And so we always at least review one of them. What does Kanban mean? As simple as that, right? 10 principles, and then 10 phrases that we liked throughout all of the visits of all the plants. We really identified with 10 and we put them up there. So those 3 things we review every day, one of each, and that's how we have material for 1,000 years.
But Alex, additional, your learning club is huge. What you do.
Yes, but the learning club is a huge thing, and that's an hour every week. And we grab a book. Obviously, we start with your books, and from there it just took off. So that lets us have the same language and spread out the knowledge about lean throughout the organization.
And I think the point I want to make there, what Alex just said, he stopped working. So the learning club wasn't just, you're just working and training them, which is important too, but you actually allocated time to stop and really be reflective and think deeply. And I think that's very important. Most people can't do that in work. Everyone wants to get production out the door instead of sharpening the sword.
Can I just add something, Paul? Everything is amazing what you guys are saying. And the thing we found is learning through repetition is the absolute key across all of everyone learns at different speeds, right? And we know that, and we accept that challenge as a leader. But if you've just got repetition happening all the time with the morning meeting, and you've got audiobook playing in your factory, and you've got, you just got to just create this learning environment. You got to really, really, really be obsessed about that, because otherwise it just falls over pretty quickly.
Right. So there are three things that I did. Number one is our people were always going to visit other companies that were doing lean. So I took my leaders to Cost Taylor. I took my leaders to different places. I was always developing. Then I started taking my leaders overseas to Europe. And then I've trained over 24 of my people in Japan. So we call this expose. We have to expose our leaders to other high level thinkers.
I love it. Can I just say the AME tours that Richard hosts are just incredible. So thanks, Richard and Paul. They're incredible, because we visit factories all over the world in our online training every single day of the week. Thanks to you guys. It's amazing.
Beautiful.
It's amazing.
And Bernard, thanks to you. It's your idea to do this roundtable. It's beautiful. I love the whole format. It's just so cool. So I think we've wrapped it up.
We've wrapped it up. I mean, we finished
Amazing.
on a really good topic with learning, and it's absolutely incredible. Just looking at the chat today, apologies if we didn't get to your question, but certainly the next roundtable,
next time,
they'll be part of it, and we'll try and answer as best we can on all of those. And I just want to thank today's guests, today's resident hosts. Thank you for coming. I want to thank all of the participants. We had over 90 people watching us today, which was absolutely incredible.
Awesome.
And the next event we're going to do is actually another tour, Bernard, on the 25th of September. We're going to visit Jeff and his company at Traffic Safety Supply Company.
Oh, cool.
So
I think Jeff is in the audience too.
I think Jeff is here as well. Yeah. So Jeff, no pressure, buddy, but we look forward to touring around your facility and learning again. And I must say, kudos to Paul. Obviously, you go and catch the waves in a minute, but I got to do a special thank you for Norm, because it's 4 a.m. in the morning where you are, Norm.
Thanks, Norm.
And
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Incredible.
Be like Norm.
Absolutely. Alex, Bernard, Adam, Paul, Norm, thank you again for doing this.
Alex, you got to get your headset on. Where's your headset, man?
Yeah, he took it off.
Not working?
Doesn't fit his big head.
Just now, I'm going to replace them.
It broke on him. He's got to fix it.
Too bad. Okay.
Fix what broke you. Everybody,
thank
you. Incredible
Thanks,
session
everyone.
Again. We'll see you all. We'll let you know when the next roundtable is. Okay.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Richard. You're awesome, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Bye.
Awesome,
Thanks,
guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Norm. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Great stuff. Thanks, Adam.